Jerry, why don't you open it up for us, sir?
All right, your run defense, 100 some yards to North Carolina back the other day. Is it getting better?
Yeah, I think we're always going to be committed to stop and run. Hampton obviously was a really good running back, one of the best in the country, I think. And you know, certainly there's some things on game day you got to adjust to always, no matter how good you prepare. I think we're working at it, and it's you know, it's going to be something we continue to sink our teeth into.
Is it bad angles or is it just physicality? What's been the issue?
I don't know. It's a bunch of different things. You know, you're always fighting for each, you know, perfect alignment to make sure. Then it's key reads, and it's, you know, physicality. You got to make plays. So there's a bunch of things to work into it.
You guys faced a lot of good running backs this year so far. What makes Odd unique?
You know, as you look at both their tailbacks that play a good majority, they're fast. You know, certainly Odd's fast, the next guy's fast as well, and so they can stick their foot in the ground and get vertical. And so we got to make sure we take great angles, don't stop our feet, and you know, trust that all our brothers got our back. When, you know, the first guy there makes a play, takes the shot, and the other guy's got to be there. So their speed, and they do a good job offensively. You know, getting those guys, you know, not only in the run game but in the pass game, you know, in space, so they can use their speed.
Are they as effective inside the tackle or maybe better on the edge?
They do both. They have an interior run game. They have a counter that'll bounce, and then they can, you know, pin and pull and get outside. So I think it's complementary. They do a little bit of all.
It seems like Kyle was a guy that you guys were excited about for a while, but there are players you get excited about in practice. It doesn't always translate into games. Like how much has what he's done so far through 5 games been what you thought he was capable of, and has he exceeded what you thought he was capable of?
Yeah, Kyle's awesome. You know, as you talked about, always been very impressed with his movement skills. I think his, you know, offseason put on strength and had a good spring, and continues to develop. You know, he's in there at 6 a.m. watching film. You know, post practice watching film. It's important to him. So it's just his success right now is a tribute to his hard work, and you know, he's seeing those dividends. And I think, you know, kind of like that tip of the iceberg story, right? All the hard work he's paid along the way is just being seen, and so he's going to continue to get better with his work ethic and his skill set. I'm certainly proud of where he is, but he's going to continue to work at it and get even better.
I think Pat has said multiple times that Brandon George is playing the best football that he's played in his career. What does that mean to you? What is he doing so well?
Yeah, I think Brandon does a good job, you know, being that middle piece, the quarterback of the defense. You know, for everybody on the field, he provides that confidence that we're going to be lined up in the right call, everybody going the right direction, and he's a physical presence in there. He's a tough guy. He's going to play as hard as he possibly can. And so, again, he's prepared to be that guy for so long, and now he's getting that opportunity. And so it's like I said, those reps that he's taken in the past, that investment he's had prior, I think is showing off. And so, again, I think every game he's got a few big collisions, which are fun to watch because he's a big man, and when he hits somebody, they go backwards, and that's fun.
He's been here long. I think he's been here longer than you have.
That's true.
On a personal side, is there a certain satisfaction you see a guy who's spent as long as he has, and now it's finally he's starting, he's playing all these reps, he's making plays? Is there a certain satisfaction in that?
Absolutely. I think you know, in this game, we know you never really arrive, and as coaches, you try to pour that into a young man. You got to constantly improve, and we talk about getting 3% every day, no matter where you start. As you talk about, he's been here so long. That's a long time compound interest, and you see the ups and downs. And it doesn't matter if you have a good day or a bad day or no one notices. You just got to keep pushing, and he's done that. And so I think if there is, as a coach, you see that growth, and if someone has success, there's you get excited for that guy, and that's everybody in the room and everybody on the team for a coach.
You played middle linebacker, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you talk about some of the characteristics a guy needs to be a good middle linebacker, not just physical, but mental and everything else?
Absolutely. I think if you look at the pillars of our program, it speaks to middle linebacker play in general. Attitude, you got to have great attitude every day. You got to give tremendous effort. You got to be tough as nails, and then the knowledge component is huge. You know, Coach Narduzzi is a linebacker, so maybe those pillars come from his lifestyle, playing the game at linebacker. But there's a lot of intangibles, and you know, we talk about in fall camp all the winner's manual, fundamentals of life. Just like the quarterback of the defense, that middle guy gets a lot of eyes on him, and he's got to demonstrate a lot as he, represents the whole. And so it's important that he stands strong and he's confident and he's leading and going right one direction.
The guy in the middle has the green belt, right, all the time, right?
That's right, yeah.
How impressed have you been with how Rasheem has performed this season?
Yeah, Heem Biles is a playmaker. He has an uncanny ability to get off blockers and get to the ball. We saw it last year with his ability to see the ball on special teams and just make plays. And you go back to high school and just watch him play basketball and football. I mean, he's a ball player. And so as he's put on a little more weight in his coat of armor and kept up with his change of direction, his playmaking ability's always been there. But he's getting that opportunity because of his hard work in the offseason and mentally prepare himself to understand the scheme, but also physically to be big and strong enough to play college football at this level. And so it's fun watching him play and run around and make plays.
There are those big splash plays that show up in the stat line. What about like play to play with Rasheem, down to down? Is he doing the things consistency-wise, responsibility-wise that you need?
Yeah, I think he's come a long way and cleaned some things since spring. I think what you talked about kind of described who he was in spring as far as splash plays, but then maybe a couple plays where he got to do a little bit better. And as we get to the season, it's constantly again fighting for those inches to be perfect. But he's done a better job making sure he knows his assignments and knows where he needs to be and doing the right thing.
Ryan, how's Braylon doing from a consistency standpoint?
Braylon's doing well. I think he's had a good week of practice so far, and had a good week last game. Getting in there, and so excited for him to keep moving forward. It's important to him. He works his tail off, and so excited about Braylon.
Does Brandon remind you of Savasi and Dennis at all, in the way he plays, or approaches the game?
I'd say that Brandon and Savasi have a very mature side in their approach. They have a great knowledge of our scheme. They also have great leadership skills. But I'd say their play style is obviously different, body type and different skill sets there. But a lot of things, the intangibles are very consistent on both of them. They did a good job there. They bring something different to the table as far as who they are physically.
Seems like
Brandon
no
having a
linebacker.
future?
Pardon?
I'm sorry, Chris, I'm sorry.
No.
Do you see Brandon having a future like Savasi's having now?
Absolutely. We hope all our guys have a future at the next level. I mean, hopefully those are the guys we're working with. And he's a big dude. He runs fast, hit hard to make plays. So.
It seems like that middle linebacker position has changed over the years because of what offenses do. I mean, you think of guys 20 years ago, it was, big 240-pound middle linebacker, 250 pounds, 150 tackles and all that stuff. Is Brandon kind of a throwback a little bit to that? I mean, you mentioned the different body type of him and Servassier. Is Brandon kind of a throwback to maybe what middle linebackers in this kind of defense used to be?
In a sense, I mean, because he's bigger, but the schemes are going to dictate that guy's got to be able to move. But like I said, there's more to it. The intangibles, the commitment, the state of mind, the confidence, the courage, the leadership, all those things. I think since the beginning of football, that middle linebacker's had. And again, I think that's he exhibits those traits. And again, he's a different body type of Savasi as we talked about, but he's a good football player. I mean, he clogs up some holes inside and knocks people back. And so he can do it. He can get the job done. Don't matter how modern this game gets. You can always have a guy who runs fast, hit hard, and make plays.
Saw a true freshman, Jeremiah Marcelin, on the depth chart. I mean, what's allowed him to separate himself from the other freshman linebackers, and what sort of future do you see him having this season?
Yeah, Jeremiah is he came in here mid-year, so had a little bit leg up on the other true freshman, and has really dedicated himself. I mean, he is dialed in. Give out the game plans, and I'll get 10 text messages blowing me up on details, making sure he has full understanding. He's in there, writing down the plays on the board, making sure he understands. Boom, boom, boom. He's dialed in, and so he's doing everything he needs to do to make sure he's ready to go. Saw him briefly a few weeks ago, and I think you see the way he plays. I mean, he's got a good body type. He plays aggressive. He's smart. He's instinctive. And so excited about Jeremiah and what he's able to do for us here in the future.
They say cornerback and quarterback are the two most difficult positions to play. Where does middle linebacker rank in that?
No, I don't know. I think every position's tough. I mean, it's football. It's got its own ups and downs, and that's the beautiful thing about the game of football, right? You take different body types, different skill sets, you throw them all over the board, and offenses can attack different things, put stress different places. Defenses can take different stresses away or add them different places. So I don't know that there's an easy position, but it's a great game. It's the greatest game in the world because of that, I think.
How much did it help? I mean, obviously we talked about how well Brandon's playing, but how much did it help you get Key Thompson back to give Brandon a little bit of, a few snaps off here and there?
It's huge. It's huge. I think Key provides tremendous value, and he's a competitor. And you got to see him show up again last week, and he'll continue to prepare himself to be ready to play more. And excited about what he brings to the table. He's physical. He's got that maturity, that knowledge of a experienced linebacker. And I think those two, Brandon and Key, sharpen each other and make sure that no matter who's on the field, everybody's going to know the call, and we're all lined up, and we're going to be sound.
Anything additional?